Oh, what a fantastic morning. Good morning, New Vision Center. Good morning to everyone, and good morning to you. I want to add my welcome to everything wonderful that Reverend Karen has already said. And I can't go a moment further in this talk before I say thank you to Mark for writing that song. I just can't imagine a better way to start off Stewardship Sunday than talking about how very blessed we are. There was a time not so very long ago, 5-6 years ago, when I remember huddling together around that big conference table that we have and having legitimate conversations about what bills get paid and what bills don't get paid. And can we afford to hire a minister? And if we get a minister, will we consistently be able to afford to pay them? And then now, look how far we've come. Not only are we joyfully, beautifully living in this building on this campus, but we are remodeling it and opening up to the new. And not only do we have a minister that's well paid, we have two. Stewardship is the heart of prosperity. And this is the last day of our 2-month true prosperity season. And so this is an opportunity to do a little bit of review and wrap up, and then go inward in ourselves to decide how we're going to choose to walk it out as we head into 2021. We're going to snap our fingers and 2021 is going to be here. And so let's dig in and do a little bit of review and see how deep we can go today. The last 2 months have been, for me, about the magic of giving and receiving. There's this beautiful cycle that happens. We call it the law of circulation. It's a spiritual principle, and really it's the heart of how things come to be in our lives. And to me, the cycle looks like this. It has abundance consciousness, leads to giving, leads to receiving, leads to gratitude, leads to abundance consciousness, leads to giving. And there's never a beginning and there's never an end. And the question simply becomes to each one of us, where do I want to hop into this cycle? Because every single part of it works once we start. But something has to pull the trigger on the cycle. And so that's what we've been talking about for the last 8 weeks. We've been talking about how do we decide what to give? How do we feel into ourselves to know how to give our time, our talent, our financial gifts, our energy, our attention? There are so many ways we can enter into this process. There can be a little bit of a tendency to feel like, well, I don't have money right now, so I can't start the giving process. I can't get the engine going. But if we pick any one of those 4 places, being open to the receiving, feeling gratitude for what we have, digging into that beautiful abundance consciousness through spiritual practice, and giving what we have, we all have something we can give, then we can start the engine. And once the engine is going, the good just keeps coming and going and coming and going. And it has to move all of these directions, right? Reverend Karen used a great example the other day about inviting us to breathe in. So let's do it. Let's all breathe in. And now let's all breathe in. And now let's all breathe in. It doesn't work, right? We have to breathe out. We have to breathe out to make space for that next big breath in. And so we practiced that together. We practiced being willing to release and willing to receive the next thing and allowing ourselves to be open and in that flow. Here at New Vision Center, we make a point of cultivating activity and action and awareness in all of those 4 quadrants of that cycle. We do it because it serves New Vision Center. Of course it does. Of course it serves New Vision Center when people step into service or give financial gifts. Of course it does. But that's not really why we do it. That's just sort of a neat side effect. Why we do it is because it is our job, our passion, our vocation, our walk in life to support you. To support you. It is our job as ministers and practitioners and leaders of this community to create an environment where people can come and feel safe enough to be vulnerable enough to grow, to create the lives that we want, that we've claimed for ourselves. And it can be a little tricksy, right, to try something new. So we create this beautiful sacred container that we call New Vision Center, and we invite people into classes, to Sunday services, to watch videos online and participate through the online campus, to have conscious conversations, to chant and sing and pray and learn and to give and receive and be grateful. That's why we do what we do. And so that brings us to this day. That brings us to this particular special sacred day of Stewardship Sunday, leading into 2021. Stewardship Sunday is the day where we make a point of inviting everyone to feel into and step into financial contribution for New Vision Center. This, you may not know, this is a center that is 100% moved forward, created, funded, supported by our congregation. There is a home office. I like to call it the mothership. I get in trouble for that sometimes. There is a mothership, but they don't fund individual centers. They more support through administrative tasks. And so every year we make a point to say, what do you think? Is this your year to step into conscious giving? We use this information to make budgets. Now, this is important because our very first commitment is to steward your resources wisely. It is not an accident that we're in a different situation financially than we were 5 or 6 years ago. It's a lot of prayer and a lot of learning and a lot of bringing in experts that can guide us to do things more wisely. It's the brilliance of Reverend Karen Lewis. It's the love and support of our dear friend and community partner, Reverend Karen Russo. It is so many people loving us into doing the very best job that we can to protect and grow your community. On Stewardship Sunday, I invite you right now to think about what you intend to financially contribute to New Vision Center for 2021. We feel into it. What is mine to give? What is mine to give? And already I can feel that cycle beginning to be enacted just as we turn our attention onto what is mine to give. You may have noticed in your email, you got a letter from Reverend Karen and myself, along with a great graphic. Spend some time with that graphic. It has all these chevrons going in and out of a grand circle that is the heart of New Vision Center. All the energy that comes in, and then all the ways New Vision Center feeds so many people and parts of the community in, again, that giving and receiving cycle. And in that letter and in our newsletters, you will find an invitation to follow a link to our conscious giving form. And this is an invitation to tell us, I intend to give X amount of dollars in 2021. We use that information to know what we can afford to wisely spend on things like ministers. We really like to get paid. We do. We're working on doing beautiful remodeling in our center. How much can we afford for the new carpet in the sanctuary? Pretty psyched for the new carpet in the sanctuary, y'all. We use it to set priorities for our year so that you can see your contribution in action. Why is this important? Because of that gratitude step. Because that gratitude step, when we walk in and see those beautiful bathrooms off the social hall, when we walk into the office and see a lovely new space for us to be at peace in, the gratitude that wells up, again, is enacting that abundance consciousness cycle. So Reverend Karen and I were talking. We do that a lot. We were talking, and we thought, let's do something a little bit more, a little bit sassy this year. We always try to do something to say thank you to people who step into the pledge program because gratitude, right? It's literally part of the process. And we're just so grateful for people who are willing to open up in that way. And we thought this year, what if we made our thank you gift something that deepens every participant in that cycle of abundance consciousness? So we decided we're going to create a quarterly mini course for everyone who submits a pledge form. It's going to be created specifically by Reverend Karen and myself. It will star your ministers. There will be a recorded special teaching just for you, just for this special group of people who've been a divine yes for this kind of giving. There will be spiritual exercises, and we're creating a Facebook group specifically for this group of people for the year so that we can have ongoing developmental conversations about abundance consciousness. And it's going to last all year long, so it's quarterly. And what this does for us, for every individual, including Reverend Karen and myself, because there's no way to learn something better than to teach it, than to create content, is that an entire year will all be focused on growing our spiritual connection to the natural birthright of abundance and prosperity. Of every kind, including money, but of every kind. And we are so excited to create this for you. So if this sounds yummy, to you, you know where those links are. They're in the email, they're in the newsletter. They will continue to be available for you. It's so important that as this true prosperity season comes to a close and we move on to the beautiful peace and light and joy of the holiday season, that we don't take our eye off that prosperity ball. Why? Because what we focus on expands. We know this. This is classic science of mind teaching. What we focus on expands. And when I go back to that original quote that we started at the beginning 2 months ago with, that prosperity is experiencing health and love and plenty in our lives, experiencing it in our lives, that is the nature of prosperity, I know that I want health and love and plenty pouring into the lives of every single person who calls New Vision Center home. This is just a no-brainer to me, that it's this delightful piece of ministry that ministering to you in this way means everybody does better. The center does better. You do better in your life. Your family does better. There doesn't need to be a limit to what we pursue spiritually. It is our divine birthright to have the allness of life. And that to me feels really delicious, really lovely. There can be a little bit of a disconnect sometimes between spirituality and something as concrete as money. I don't really ever have anybody say, I don't understand how spirituality can help me forgive someone. They may not want to do it. That's a different issue. But we know how spirituality and consciousness work can help us feel better on the inside. And sometimes it can be a challenge to take the step to how does that connect in a physical, concrete way. And Ernest Holmes said this. He said, everyone is looking for security. And often we think the word security means that we have enough money to pay the bills. It certainly does include that, but there's a deeper security than that, a security that comes only through a deep and abiding faith in life, a deep and abiding faith in ourselves, and a deep and abiding faith in God. You may not yet have had that amazing experience when you hop into that cycle of abundance consciousness and the money shows up. You may not have had that moment yet, but you have. I'm willing to go to the mat on this. You have had the moment where you leaned into your spirituality in some area of your life and God showed up. Through a healed heart, through a softened relationship, through the ability to do something you never would have thought you could do. Money isn't different. Money isn't a different thing. If God is all there is, then God is all there is. God is health, God is money, God is relationships, God is kindness, God is New Vision Center, God is you. It's all there is. A deep and abiding faith in life. So this is the invitation. Are we ready to go deeper? Are we ready to take one step deeper? Are we ready to make that commitment to ourselves and to our community? Wherever we are we each individually ready to go one step deeper to that deep, abiding faith that the universe has got us? So let's close our eyes and take just a few seconds. Wherever you are, if you're a member, is this your time to become a partner? If you're an occasional contributor, is this your time to pledge? If you give when you remember, is this your time to go to auto-tithing? And as we bring our consciousness back into this room, back into this space, we're opened up to the opportunity to prayerfully consider, what is mine to contribute this day, this year, in 2021, on that pledge card? What is my one step deeper that will help align me with that deep, abiding faith that sets that whole cycle of giving and receiving in motion in my life? Ernest Holmes said, "We live together in a community of interests, so my good becomes your good, and your good becomes mine." New Vision Center is that community. And this is your opportunity to go that little bit deeper. And so I'm going to hand over the rest of this service to our wonderful Reverend Karen, who's going to help us take that step.
Beloved Reverend Leslie, inviting us into that space. And so we are going to continue in that space as we become very clear that New Vision Center is not a center and its partners or its members, but the New Vision Center is a center as its partners, as its members, as its beloveds. So just as Reverend Leslie has said in that beautiful message, we are invited to take a moment and close our eyes. Many of you have received our stewardship cards this year, and that beautiful graphic that shows so powerfully what I was talking about earlier, how funds come into the New Vision Center, resources come in and leave out. And so we are invited to step into that cycle. And for our stewardship ceremony, for the sacred ceremony this year, we are going to build a container that everybody who is part of this community now or has ever been or will be in the future will feel safe enough and know that their resources are held here safe enough to step into that container. So I invite all of the practitioners of this community and all the ministers to please rise in the sanctuary, and especially out there in the world at this time. Let us build this container that spans time and space. And I invite all of the members of the Leadership Council to please rise and also hold this container. We're going to give it a moment. Some people have to put down their coffee before they get up because they are enjoying their coffee. And you can feel it, right? Can you not? You can feel this wonderful container that is held here so powerfully. And so we recognize that the body of the center is composed of all the individuals, that it is its hands, its feet, its heart, and its head. We recognize that each person is a unique individualization of the divine spirit, the presence of God. And through each other and in our unified awareness, we share this experience of the presence of God here. Each time we think of the spirit of the New Vision Center, we attune ourselves with the sum of the power and the life and the love, which is the healing presence that indwells the body of this center through all individuals. And so one of the most satisfying of human experiences is to become consciously aware of that what is mine to give. To become consciously aware that we are a beneficial presence and that we can choose to uplift one another. And so in furthering this effort, many have chosen to step in and consciously unify themselves with this high purpose of love, to belonging and supporting this beloved center. And so in this safe container that we have created here, we ask ourselves, what is my commitment for this next year? Is that what I give here, how I serve here, still in alignment, or am I called to up-level? Am I called to step in deeper? We recognize that our commitment allows us to widen the circle of those who will care for each other and comfort and love each other. And so the question is, are we willing to make a promise? Are we willing to bring our abundance consciousness that is present within each and every one of us to this community, to this family? And so as we allow ourselves to be filled up with this connection to Source, to our infinite supply, we make this agreement first and foremost with ourselves. To fill out the pledge card, maybe that has been given here to the beloveds who are in the sanctuary, the pledge cards who have been mailed out, the pledge cards who are available through the newsletters. And so once you arrive there, I want you to just stand, whoever you are, wherever you are, stand and consciously step into your yes. To serve more, perhaps to become more aware of the beneficial presence that you actually are. And so it is right here, in this place, that we anchor this sacred time with the spiritual mind treatment, where we recognize that we truly are one, that there is only one power, one presence, that the divine essence is who we are. This is the truth of not just a few, this is the truth of every being, everywhere. And so we lay down any belief that is different than that we are of spirit. We lay it down. We let it be. As we recognize that our divine birthright truly is one of abundance, the abundant joy, of the abundant love, the abundant resources in all the worlds. And so breathing into this expanded space, we recognize that we have been always, always blessed. From the very first moment we came into being, and way beyond, we lay these bodies down. We are blessed. We're so very, very blessed. And so if we joyfully heed this call to share this blessing with the world in form of whatever rises up in us, a smile, a blessing to another, a givingness, a truth, a song, a dance, a book, however it looks. And so breathing into this expanded field of possibilities of knowingness, we share that which we feel with all people who have placed a prayer request with the New Vision Center. And so we give of ourselves in this way as we lift up Judy and Peter and Angelica and Leslie and Audrey and Bobby and Jeff and Sue and Rebecca. We breathe in and know that we are a blessing for Virginia and Sandra and Molly, for Henry and Jean and Rick, for Beverly and Susan, for Bill and Karen, for Russ and Andy, for Beth, Marianne, Mason, for Rick and Jolene, for each other, for the world, for this community. And we recognize that there's nothing more to do. And we can just let it be. That we have made this commitment, this devotion to ourselves, that we know what is ours to give. And so there's just to place this word into universal law, to the law that says, yes, my beloved, yes, my beloved. It is already done. It is already so. And so with a joyful heart, we anchor this truth together as we say, and so it is.